The year is 1940. The world is in the throes of the Second World War. As the calendar turned over to a new decade, it seemed the globe had been plunged into an abyss of conflict and chaos. The war had already spread its wings, casting a dark shadow over Europe and Asia. The world stage was set, the players in their places, and the drama of the Second World War was unfolding in full force. In this tumultuous year, Germany, under the iron-fisted rule of Adolf Hitler, was on a war path. The Nazi war machine, fueled by a toxic mix of fanaticism and fascism, had successfully invaded Poland the previous year. The world watched in shock as Denmark and Norway quickly followed suit, succumbing to the German onslaught in the early months of 1940. Meanwhile, France, the cultural heart of Europe and a global powerhouse, found itself on the brink of surrender. The once proud nation was teetering on the edge, its defenses crumbling under the relentless German advance. The echoes of the Great War still reverberated in the ears of the French people, and now they were facing the prospect of another devastating defeat. But amidst the disarray and despair, one nation stood firm. Britain, the last major power in Western Europe, refused to bow down. Under the steadfast leadership of Prime Minister Winston Churchill, the British people prepared themselves for the impending storm. It was a time of great uncertainty, but also one of resilience and resolve. In the face of adversity, Britain was not alone. Across the Atlantic, the United States, although not yet officially in the war, was keeping a watchful eye on the events unfolding in Europe. The world was on the brink of a seismic shift, and the decisions made during this critical period would shape the course of history for decades to come. As the year 1940 progressed, the world held its breath, watching, waiting, wondering. Would Britain withstand the coming storm, or would it too fall under the iron heel of the Nazi regime? With France on the verge of surrender, Britain prepares for a possible German invasion. As France fell, Hitler turned his sights on Britain. Thus began the Battle of Britain. In the summer of 1940, the world watched in trepidation as the conflict took a new turn. Hitler, having conquered much of Western Europe, set his eyes on the island nation across the Channel. His objective was clear: achieve air superiority over Britain by decimating the Royal Air Force, or RAF. Hitler's battle strategy was as ruthless as it was calculated. The Luftwaffe, Germany's formidable air force, was tasked with the monumental mission of crippling the RAF. The plan was to force the British into a peace agreement by demonstrating the futility of resistance, but the Luftwaffe had underestimated the tenacity of the RAF and the resilience of the British people. July 1940 marked the beginning of this airborne onslaught. The Luftwaffe initially focused on bombing shipping convoys and coastal facilities. This strategy was designed to cut off Britain's lifeline to the outside world, straining its resources and morale. The German forces aimed to control the skies over the English Channel, thereby isolating Britain and making an eventual invasion more feasible. Hitler's war machine was relentless, with the Luftwaffe launching numerous sorties day and night. The skies over Britain echoed with the roar of aircraft engines, the chatter of machine guns, and the deafening blasts of bombs. Yet, despite the ferocity of these attacks, the RAF stood firm. The British pilots, young and brave, took to the skies in their Spitfires and Hurricanes. They fought valiantly, matching the Luftwaffe's might with their incomparable courage and skill. They were Britain's first line of defense, the guardians of their homeland. Every sortie they flew, every dogfight they engaged in was a testament to their unwavering resolve. Despite the odds, Britain's Royal Air Force stood ready to defend their country. The Battle of Britain was just beginning, and the stakes had never been higher. The fate of Britain and the course of World War II hung in the balance. By mid-August, the Battle of Britain had reached its peak. The Luftwaffe, Germany's air force, had shifted its strategy drastically, initially targeting naval convoys in the English Channel. They now set their sights on the Royal Air Force's airfields and the country's crucial infrastructure. This change of plan was not without reason. The Luftwaffe aimed to cripple Britain's defenses from within, attempting to gain air superiority by destroying the very platforms from which the RAF launched their counterattacks. The results were devastating. Airfields were laid to waste, runways cratered, and hangars destroyed. The RAF suffered heavy losses both in terms of their aircraft and their courageous pilots. The situation was grim, with the Luftwaffe appearing to have the upper hand. However, not all was lost. The British had two secret weapons up their sleeve: radar and intelligence. These were the unsung heroes of the Battle of Britain. The chain-home radar system, an early warning network of radar stations, was crucial in detecting incoming German aircraft. This gave the RAF precious time to scramble their fighters and intercept the enemy. British intelligence also played a pivotal role. The code breakers at Bletchley Park, working in utmost secrecy, were able to decipher the encrypted communications of the Luftwaffe. This provided invaluable insight into German strategies and tactics, allowing the RAF to anticipate and counter the Luftwaffe's moves. The Luftwaffe's strategy was brutal, but it was not enough to break the spirit of the RAF or the British people. The RAF pilots, whom Winston Churchill famously referred to as the Few, fought with unyielding courage and determination. They faced insurmountable odds, yet they continued to climb into their Spitfires and Hurricanes day after day to defend their homeland. Despite their losses, the RAF continued to resist the German onslaught. The Battle of Britain was far from over, and the Few were not about to give up without a fight. In September 1940, Hitler ordered a change in strategy. This would mark the start of the Blitz. In an attempt to break the will of the British people, the focus of the German Luftwaffe shifted. The strategy switched from targeting military installations and airfields to bombing major cities, primarily London, but also others like Birmingham, Coventry, and Liverpool. This new phase of the Battle of Britain was coined the Blitz, a term derived from the German word Blitzkrieg, meaning lightning war. For a grueling period of over 8 months, from September 1940 to May 1941, the British people endured an onslaught of relentless bombing. Night after night, German bombers filled the skies, dropping thousands of tons of explosives on the cities below. The scale of destruction was immense, with entire neighborhoods reduced to rubble and historic landmarks obliterated. Yet, amid the devastation, a remarkable story of resilience began to unfold. The British people, rather than being cowed, stood firm. They huddled together in makeshift bomb shelters, underground stations, or even under their own stairs, waiting out each raid. The following morning they would emerge, dust themselves down, and begin the process of rebuilding, refusing to let the terror of the night before break their spirit. This period also saw the rise of the iconic figure of the Blitz spirit. The image of the cheery Londoner, making a cup of tea amidst the ruins of their home, became a symbol of British resilience. It was this spirit that saw Britain through the darkest hours of the Blitz, as they refused to let the terror of the bombings force them into submission. In the face of such relentless attacks, the resolve of the British people was truly tested. Yet the spirit of unity, determination, and defiance that emerged during this period became a beacon of hope. It's this spirit that we remember today, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Despite the terror of the Blitz, Britain refused to surrender. By the end of October 1940, the Battle of Britain had effectively ended. The skies over Britain, once filled with the roar of aircraft and the crisscross of tracer fire, fell silent. The reason for this abrupt halt was a strategic shift by Germany. Hitler, ever the opportunist, turned his gaze eastwards towards the vast expanses of the Soviet Union, marking the end of this pivotal battle. The Battle of Britain was not just a military engagement, it was a battle for survival. Britain stood as the last beacon of resistance against the Nazi war machine in Western Europe. The stakes couldn't have been higher. If Britain fell, Hitler would have had a clear path to invade the rest of Europe. But Britain, against all odds, survived. The end of the Battle of Britain brought more than just relief to the people of Britain, it gave them a newfound confidence. The British morale, which had been tested to its limits, was boosted immeasurably. They had faced the might of Hitler's Luftwaffe and emerged victorious. This victory was a beacon of hope for the besieged Allies, a spark that ignited the flame of resistance. The impact of the Battle of Britain on the overall course of World War II was significant. It marked the first major defeat of Hitler's military forces. This battle laid bare the vulnerabilities of the seemingly invincible German war machine. The Luftwaffe, once feared as the harbingers of destruction, were proven to be beatable. This was a reality check for Hitler, a blow to his plans of world domination. The battle also had a profound impact on the United States, still watching from across the Atlantic. Witnessing Britain's resilience, it began to reassess its stance of neutrality. This marked the beginning of a shift in American foreign policy, setting the stage for their eventual entry into the war. The Battle of Britain was a turning point in World War II. It showed that Hitler's forces were not invincible, giving hope to the Allies and marking the beginning of the end for the Axis powers.